How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Bitcoin is falling down once again. We actually had, I think, 13 red hourly candles here, with Bitcoin going from 116,000. It actually went under 110,000 after the screenshot was taken. Let's talk about why that is. We'll also go through what's happening right now. We just got some earnings that blew away expectations, some bank earnings. We'll talk about what that means. And we do have Jerome Powell in 2 hours from the time of this recording, talking about the economy. So go through all this. Be ready for some volatility. If you want to trade crypto, check out the link underneath the video to BYDeFi. Right now, there's a 30% deposit bonus up to $3,000, and you can trade and get up to $13,000 in bonus. This doesn't happen on really any other exchanges, so that's pretty awesome. They don't have these ongoing bonuses for people that have already signed up. They just care about getting people in, and then they hope that they stay on the platform. Here at BYDeFi, they actually reward users for continuing to trade. By the way, you can check out my Telegram. It's completely free. We have almost 2,000 members in there underneath the video. Sometimes I give exclusive videos and trade updates and stuff in there. So Bitcoin had some red hourly candles. I mean, look at this. Pretty rough. It doesn't look that big compared to what we saw last Friday. I mean, you zoom out and this looks like just a blip on the radar after we fell down, $15,000? But you start zooming in, you realize we were at $100 and nearly $16,000, like maybe breaking back out to that $120,000 range. Then we went like 13 or 14 hours straight down, went under 110,000. Then we've just kind of been puttering around. Now we have seen some support right around this level, right, within a few $100s of where we just were. So I would not be surprised to see us, kind of continue rallying up. The traditional market, though, is red today to start the day. NASDAQ's down 1.4%. S&P 500's down 1%. I know that we're very close to all-time highs on NASDAQ and the S&P 500 within like 5% or so. But there are companies that they're starting to look attractive. Like big tech companies, they're starting to look pretty attractive at these levels. The reason I think we're falling down today is some back and forth, right? It seems like every day we're hearing that China and the US have good relations and that there aren't going to be any tariffs. And then it escalates again, like just today. China urged the US to correct wrongdoings regarding Trump's 100% tariffs and says that it will fight until the end. In other words, there's more tariff drama that continues to happen. So I think that's one of the reasons that we're falling down today. In crypto, too, we're getting more nonstop dumping from Binance. They continue to do this. Every time that there's a dump, it seems like they're sending crypto to Wintermute to then send down the price. Wintermute sells and liquidates long positions. We're seeing somewhere around $500 million worth of longs liquidated today. The insider whale who shorted the last Bitcoin crash has boosted their short position to a whopping 140%, slamming down a staggering $392 million wager that Bitcoin will move down. And they are in the profit, to be clear, because they opened this at 116,000. They added to it. So their entry is mixed at $115,783. They're on 10x leverage. And we're down at 111,000. So they've made a decent chunk of money. I mean, we're talking about a 50% gain basically on their initial investment. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of people are watching this / were watching this because they thought that maybe this insider whale knew something. They might just be, betting that there are going to be some shakeouts following the big crash, right? Because we pumped up pretty significantly. They might just, play a little wick down or something. Now, in 2 hours, Jerome Powell will speak. He's going to speak about economic outlook and monetary policy. The question is, does he come out hawkish or dovish? I think this will probably move the markets a bit, just depending on how he approaches the market. But keep in mind, the market's cooled down a little bit, right? Like, we haven't gotten inflation data. I think he has the inflation data, to be clear. We're supposed to get it, I think, today. We were supposed to get it, or maybe it was supposed to be Thursday, but now it's going to be like over a week late because of the government shutdown. But I'm guessing he has an idea of what CPI and PPI are at for this month. So that might give us an indication of, what the inflation readings really are. I don't think he wants to come out super dovish, but also I don't know he really has to come out hawkish either, because right now the markets have calmed down a decent amount. There's a government shutdown, right? This is honestly going to be good for inflation. A government shutdown means less spending because they're just people that aren't getting paid. I'm not saying that's good in general, right? People should get paid for the work that they're doing, but it's good for inflation, right? Less people having money means less spending of money. So I would not be surprised to see him kind of like middle of the road, right? Not super hawkish, not super dovish. Bank earnings came out and they crushed it. JPM, $5.07 versus $4.87 expected. So they beat on revenue. BlackRock beat on EPS, also beat on revenue. Citi beat significantly on EPS by 25% or something like that. Revenues beat, everyone beat essentially, right? And it looks like revenue and earnings per share. Banks are a decent indication of how the consumer is doing, right? I guess the one counter is that if banks are making a lot from credit cards, maybe they're making it from credit card fees and then the consumer is actually getting weaker, but the banks are getting extra money in the meantime. But overall, I'd say that they're a pretty good indication of how the economy is doing, right? So this is positive. This is a good start to the earnings season. Keep in mind, we're going to get tech companies' earnings in the next few weeks, and then we could see some big moves from the market. Another piece of good news, Elon Musk says Bitcoin is based on energy. You can issue fake fiat currency and every government in history has done so, but it's impossible to fake energy. I mean, this is kind of interesting because Musk doesn't really talk about Bitcoin too much. For someone that owns billions of dollars of Bitcoin throughout his companies, and he's talked about personally owning Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. He has it in at least Tesla and then his space company as well, SpaceX. He doesn't talk about it very often. So it's nice to see him kind of reiterate that he's maybe not pro Bitcoin, but he likes some properties of Bitcoin every once in a while. For him, at his net worth, I think it's more just of a hedge, at least personally. With his companies, there are various reasons, I guess, to hold Bitcoin. But for him, it's not like he probably has $50 billion in Bitcoin. I could be wrong, right? For all I know, he could be Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't think he is, but I think it's more of a hedge. He probably has like a couple $100 million worth or $1 billion worth, and it's just a hedge against the debasement of fiat currency, which honestly is what a lot of high net worth individuals will do in the next 10 years anyways. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Overall, the market looks fine, even with this dip, right? We saw the dip right ahead of the market open. Now we're seeing a jump a little bit too. So be ready for some volatility. I'm sure that there's some interesting stuff happening behind the scenes with hedge funds and market makers from Friday. I'm sure that there are people still, having to sort through massive losses. Some people that probably made massive amounts of money shorting the market as well, or, Binance dumping and then liquidated longs and then going long again or buying back the crypto. I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff to be sorted through. So we're going to see some shockwaves of volatility in my mind. Be on the lookout for Jerome Powell in a couple hours. I really appreciate you all watching. Let me know your thoughts on this underneath the video. Again, if you want to start trading, check out the link underneath the video to BYDFi. We've been able to make life-changing amounts of money, but of course, approach this and actually know what you're doing. Right? Use a small portion of your portfolio at first. And if you get more comfortable, you can raise it a little bit. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.